Good afternoon. I absolutely love seeing the fellowship and discussions about all good Kentucky policy. But if we could all come together, we will start this meeting 5 of the Interim Committee on Tourism, Small Business, and Information Technology. Would the Secretary please call the roll?
Senator Boswell. Here. Senator Funky Fromeyer. Senator Girdler. Senator Howell. Senator Maiden. Senator Nunn. Here. Senator Thomas. Senator Wilson. Senator Wise. Representative Baker. Representative Chester Burton.
Present.
Representative Dotson. Representative Pfister.
Present.
Representative Fugit.
Here.
Representative Grossberg. Representative Grossel.
Here.
Representative Hodgson. Representative Colcarney.
Present.
Representative Lawrence. Representative Lehman. Representative Lewis.
Here.
Representative Marzian.
Here.
Representative McPherson.
Here.
Representative Moore.
Here.
Representative Pollock.
Here.
Representative Tackett Lafferty.
Present.
Representative Tate. Representative Thompson. Representative Truitt. Representative Watkins. Representative Wesley.
Here.
Representative Whitaker.
Here.
Representative White. Representative Wilson. Representative Wilson. Witten.
Here.
Co-Chair Wheeler. Here. Co-Chair Gordon. Here. Co-Chair King.
Present. We do have a quorum. Before we get to the minutes, so be thinking about if you would like to make a motion or second on the minutes, I would like to defer to Representative Whitaker for a brief overview of the opportunity we had in his lovely district earlier this week.
Thank you so much. We had a fantastic time, and I'm really grateful for Chris and all the hard work he's done to make these trails a real sight to be seen. We saw some of the best views that the entire eastern United States has to offer, if you ask me. Had a great turnout. I appreciate everyone that came out. You know, we had Dan Pfister from Woodford County. We had Suzanne Miles come all the way from Paducah, and, of course, Harrodsburg. Well worth the trip. Come on down and see Letcher County sometime.
Thank you, Representative. It was a wonderful opportunity. We were blessed to be able to be in your all's area. Does anyone want to make a motion and a second on September minutes? Did you receive those? Okay, thank you very much. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? September minutes pass. We have 2 exciting agenda items today. We will go in order on the agenda. We will start with Visit Jessamine, making an impact. If our committee member and his guests would please go to the presenter's table. If you will push the button on your microphone until it illuminates.
Thank you.
Please introduce yourself for the record and give us your presentation. We're looking forward to it.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Adam Moore, House District 45, parts of Fayette and Jessamine County.
My name is Charla Reed. I am the Executive Director with Visit Jessamine, and we want to thank Representative Moore and all you all here for having us here today.
And I'm Brian Young, owner-operator of 1922 House Vineyards and Winery in Jessamine County.
And I'm going to allow Charlotte and Brian to run this show, so glad they're here with us today.
Thank you.
So when we're talking about tourism, we cannot not talk about it without talk about the support and the impact that it makes, not only for Jessamine County, but the state as a whole. Support for Kentucky tourism can have a direct and significant impact. For the state of Kentucky alone, taxes generated over $1 billion, economic impact of $14.3 billion. For Jessamine County, where we're from, the taxes generated $6.2 million. The economic impact is $87 million. This impact is vital not only for Kentucky overall, but also for our local communities, where this support makes a difference. In Jessamine County, we rebranded to better reflect our identity as a premier Kentucky destination. If you notice, it just had a horse on there at first, but we're so much more. This is just a snapshot of some of the things we have in our county. We have Kentucky River Adventure, Camp Nelson National Monument, High Bridge Park, quaint, charming towns, unique eateries, shopping, golfing. Yes, we have horses. We have tailor-made farms, the Kentucky Equine Adoption Center, and we have some Kentucky wine. But this is just a snapshot. We have a lot more things, and a lot more goes on in Jessamine County. With the recent updates to our branding and our logo, Jessamine needed a new location for our visitor center. The Jessamine County Fiscal Court, along with the cities of Nicholasville, with support from Wilmore, and the Nicholasville-Wilmore-Jessamine County Joint Tourism Commission, teamed up to revitalize a historic site, our old jail. Located just south of Jessamine Courthouse, this site is a historic landmark along Main Street in downtown Nicholasville. This collaborative project created a prominent destination for our community and visitors. Local governments working together and investing in tourism, showcasing Kentucky's rich, beautiful history and culture. We opened our doors to the public in August. The Lieutenant Governor, Jacqueline Coleman, joined local and state officials, along with local celebrities, to celebrate a new chapter for tourism in Jessamine County. Other examples of some of the tourism investments in Jessamine County include murals, branding, and our advertising. We featured in a downstream series on KET, talking about the river. We've added some kiosks. One is an outdoor one that anyone can come up 24/7 and find out all the different places to stay, play, shop. And we also have a portable one that we invested in that we take to Camp Nelson, some of our hotels, as well as some of the events, the large events. One of the bigger things that we've done, wayfinding, we have put these out on the main roads. We want to bring people into Jessamine County and want them to know they're here. And we have quality experiences here as well. These are just a few of the very many initiatives. We're focusing on driving messaging and highlighting Jessamine as a top quality tourism destination. So Jessamine offers many quality experiences for visitors, just like every Kentucky community. But did you know that Jessamine is home to the first commercial winery in the entire country? Yes, it's not California, but it's right here in Kentucky in Jessamine County, First Vineyard. Building on this rich wine tradition, and with 3 unique wineries, First Vineyard, 1922 House Vineyard and Winery, and Ghost Fox Winery, along with the Kentucky Wine and Vine Festival, we established the Kentucky Wine Trail. So let's hear what our local celebrity and hometown, John Michael Montgomery, has to say about wine in his hometown.
Embark on a flavorful journey through the ages at Jessamine's local vineyards. Visit the very first commercial vineyard in the United States. Discover bold and innovative new flavors. That is the annual Wine and Vine Festival, hosted in Jessamine County every year. No matter how you celebrate the art of crafting and tasting wine, you'll find the same spirit of kinship and revelry at every stop in Jessamine's vineyards.
So now this is the brochure that we put out. You all have received one with the tumbler. This brochure, it is called the Jessamine Wine and Spirits Trail. After finishing the trail and getting the passports stamped at all 3 wineries, participants receive a prize, a wine tumbler, just like you all have received, with the Visit Jessamine logo. If they get it signed at all the Kentucky Wine and Vine also at the Kentucky Wine and Vine Festival, they can return it to Visit Jessamine for an additional prize. Notice that we said and Spirits Trail. We're looking beyond the present for future expansion and reach. This is the inside of the brochure. We have highlighted each winery, included a stamp station and a map, and provided details about the Kentucky Wine and Vine Festival, which is Jessamine County's biggest event and Kentucky's premier wine festival. We kept the same look, the branding, and the signature Kentucky adventure vibe to entice visitors to join in.
Thank you, Charla. So I owe an apology to everybody in this room today. I was notified when I walked in that I failed to bring wine for the fine representatives and senators that are present here today. So my apologies. So we won't let that happen again. So in any event, thank you so much for having us out today to hear a little snippet of how tourism dollars make a difference in the community. So I'm here certainly as a winery in that representation, and what Charlotte just shared, she shared relative to the Jessamine Wine Trail. But I think we all also recognize, and part of the presentation is to also stress the importance that Kentucky tourism is a very broad element. So there are lots of bits and pieces. So we're certainly kind of focusing a little bit more here on that, on a little piece of that being what we're doing in terms of the investment with the wine trail. So again, thank you. So you see the title of the slide. It says making an impact through tourism support. And there certainly is an impact. And Charlotte shared on slide number 2 the economic impact relative to Jessamine County at the $87 million in revenue and the economic impact of $6.2 million in tax revenue. So certainly a benefit in terms of what you all are doing in your support of tourism. What's really fun is this, and I'll share the top bullet point really kind of highlights this. I had a customer who was in our winery, and this woman was from San Diego, California. And if you think about San Diego and California, you think in terms of wine. But her comment to me when she was in our winery is that Kentucky is a tourism state. So also reflective of the wineries, but also reflective of all the different things that Kentucky has to offer in terms of, so it's really fascinating to me, and I think probably to you sitting in where you sit today, is to understand that people all the way over in California think of Kentucky as having an impact and being a tourism state. So it makes a difference what you do in the committee. So thank you. So what we find in terms of specific to the wine trails, a wine trail has a trickle over effect. So wine trail brings people in to visit the wineries, and they visit multiple wineries. But then we're also seeing where they're actually branching out into our surrounding counties. So there's a kind of a lift, a benefit to each of the surrounding areas. So it's not just simply Jessamine County that's impacted through the tourism dollars that are spent in Jessamine County. Others in your all's areas actually see a direct line benefit because the visitors come and actually expend money both in our community but then also in the surrounding community. It also creates a more well-rounded Kentucky experience. So I think we're all familiar that when people think Kentucky, bourbon certainly comes to mind, and that's an important beverage for Kentucky because Kentucky is, I think, technically a beverage state when you think about it. But I have so many people who come into the winery who have part of their visit, part of their crew are here for the bourbon and the distilleries and breweries, and the other part comes in specifically for wine. So what happens is that we create this balanced experience for people who travel to Kentucky because it's not just a one-stop shop. People don't come for one thing. They come for a multitude of things that Kentucky has to offer. So we help to fill that niche in terms of the need for folks to come in and give another reason for people to travel to. Creating repeat visits. So what's really fun on this is, as we discover with the wine trail, is as we have visitors that come and discover our wineries, we find them coming to our location yet again and again and again. Case in point, I had a client that came in. They actually were from Chicago. They made a side trip on their way to Nashville to come see us, an hour out of their way, in order to revisit from their first experience that they had as a result of the Kentucky Wine Trail. So we have impact, and we have repeat impact, which is important. Of course, we see economic impact. There is an economic impact in terms of restaurants. We see people who come in ask for other places to stay and see, Camp Nelson being one of those. And then, of course, we see a trickle-over effect into a lot of different locations. So tourism certainly lifts not only us, but it certainly lifts those in the surrounding communities as well. In our winery, so 1922 House Winery, I have 2 pushpin maps. I have a pushpin map that actually displays the United States of America with each state represented, and I have a world map below that. And I ask visitors to place pushpins where they're from. In our little winery in Jessamine County, we have representation from every single state in the United States. So we've had somebody from every place in our country that's been to our winery. In addition to that, and this is what's, I think, telling, is we've had visitors from over 60 plus countries in our winery, which I think is just, it details out Kentucky tourism makes an impact. One of the ones that actually kind of sticks to me in terms of a visit that we had, I was asking folks where they were from, and we had a group they were in from the Philippines. And my wife happened to see their plates on their car, and their plates on their car were diplomatic plates. So that's kind of fun to begin with. But then behind that, as they were making their purchase, this group that was from the Philippines shared with me that they were actually purchasing the wine from my winery in Jessamine County, and they were taking that back to the ambassador to the United States for the Philippines. So that's tourism. So we have a worldwide impact relative to the influence that tourism brings. So it's just great to see that people come in from not only local, statewide, and region-wide, but also we see an international impact. So with that said, behind that, I think what happens is people experience the wine trail, they experience part of the Kentucky story. And that Kentucky story reflects really well on the other tourism aspects that you have in Kentucky, the things that you guys support behind the scenes in order to continue to drive traffic. Lastly, in Jessamine County, the Kentucky Wine and Vine Festival, that is the state wine festival that's held in Jessamine County. That brings in visitors from both regional and local areas, and we do see some international visitors that happen to be in the area that also make that a stop as well. So again, thank you for your tourism support. It does make a difference for us, and it makes a difference in your all's communities as well. I'll turn this back to Charlotte. Thank you.
So we have one more small little clip that explains the
Memories are found along the Jessamine Wine and Spirits Trail. Get your passport stamped at First Vineyard, Ghost Fox Winery, and 1922 House Vineyard and Winery to complete the trail and take home a special prize. Don't forget to bring home a bottle for that special someone. Cheers.
Oh, I'll go back there. Okay, here we go. So tourism in Kentucky isn't limited to just one single aspect. Just as the Jessamine Wine and Spirits Trail is only one part of Jessamine, our state offers a variety of high-quality Kentucky experiences. Your support for the Kentucky Department of Tourism and the tourism transient taxes is very important. I have worked for the Kentucky Department of Parks, the Kentucky Arts Council, and now I'm currently with the Nicholasville-Wilmore Jessamine County Joint Tourism Commission. And we're a part of the Bluegrass Area Region, and we receive support from the Kentucky Department of Tourism. From the state to the front lines, I want to tell you, these people are some of the most dedicated workers and advocates for Kentucky tourism. Just like in Jessamine, We have a story to tell and a hospitality like no other. It's all about offering opportunities. There is passion. Just go take a tour at Camp Nelson National Monument. Visit a distillery in Bardstown. Go to the Kentucky Horse Park or Keeneland. Dine at a cozy local diner and learn about the hidden trails and the must-see stops along the way. Visit Natural Bridge State Park and experience warm hospitality, or explore the Jessamine Wine and Spirits Trail. Jessamine is growing. We are proud of the economic impact we're making, and we are working to provide quality tourism experiences that benefit residents and visitors alike. But we are also promoting our regional tourism destinations. From east to west and north to south, Kentucky is a tourism destination full of authentic Kentucky experiences, wineries, distilleries, horses, historic sites, outdoor recreation, festivals, and so much more. We're all connected. Got a free weekend? Go see Brian. Stop at the Dixie Cafe for lunch. Then visit Ghost Fox Winery, First Vineyard, and stop by Camp Nelson National Monument to enjoy some history and wind down your day. Whatever you do, wherever you go, Kentucky is ready for you. For beauty, charm, history, horses, and wineries, and so much more. We welcome you to Jessamine County. Once again, we'd like to thank Representative Adam Moore for the opportunity to showcase Visit Jessamine and the Wine Trail. We also appreciate all Jessamine County legislators and all our Kentucky legislators. We appreciate your support, and we appreciate your support for Visit Jessamine and all of Kentucky tourism. Thank you so much for having us today.
I would say that concludes our prepared presentation, but we would love to answer any questions that members of the committee might have.
Thank you very much. What a wonderful presentation. I'm so thankful you all are here today to shine a light on Jessamine County and the many tourism opportunities that we have. Ms. Charla mentioned Highbridge Spring Water that comes from Jessamine County and gave members, everyone, a tumbler. So we do have Highbridge spring water coolers available here in the annex. If you're not familiar with the good crisp taste of Highbridge spring water, take your tumbler and fill that up and you'll be hooked. I'm hooked. Right. It's all I drink anymore. Do you have any final remarks, Representative Moore? We appreciate you bringing our presenters in today. We do have a couple of questions. But
one final remark I would say, as the leaves are starting to change color a little later this year than it has been. It's been a warm summer. But there's no more beautiful place on earth than going to Highbridge Park as it looks over the Kentucky River and Dix River and the old historic train track that sits high above the river there. And it's just, wall to wall, all around, beautiful trees of multiple elevations off to Shaker Village. So if you ever have the chance, I highly recommend this time of year, come by Highbridge Park, and it's an amazing view you'll never forget.
That is correct. That is correct. We do have 2 questions so far in the queue. 3. Senator Boswell.
Thank you, Mrs. Chairman. So congratulations on your success, first of all.
Thank you.
And I just want to say, I think that tourism is the future of our state.
Absolutely.
Revenue-wise. I mean, we are trying to lower the state income tax, and I would like to see us do what Florida has just done, which is to eliminate the property tax on personal residence in the state of Kentucky. But if we're ever going to achieve something like that, tourism is going to lead us in the way because of the sales tax revenue that it creates. So I hope as we go in the future, as a legislature, we just continue to pound away on getting those people from out of state to come in here and spend their money. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Thomas.
First of all, Representative Moore, I want to congratulate you on talking about Jessamine County. Obviously, being from Fayette, I get to just visit Jessamine County all the time, and it's a beautiful county. Charlotte, next week is Halloween. Friday, October 31st. Why don't you tell this committee a little bit about what happens on Main Street down in Nicholasville on Halloween and what the city does for that.
We do. Visit Jessamine actually helps with the city coordinate that. We close down Main Street from Oak to Chestnut Street. We have local businesses, not just from downtown area, but from all over Jessamine County that come downtown. We pass out the candy, but we also have Mindy's School of Dance, and they do 2 thriller presentations. One is very kid-friendly. The other's a little bit more spooky, but it's still kid-friendly. And the community gathers for a celebration. We also have Treats on Main in Wilmore that local businesses participate in and hand out candy as well. So it's a fun evening. The very next day, we have a brand new event called the Great Jessamine Pumpkin. And we will be setting up old-time games for kids all around the courthouse. And we also have food trucks, vendors. We have just costume contests. The list goes on. Pumpkin pie. If you love pumpkin pie, come get into the fun because they're going to have an eating contest. So just bringing people back to where they were a long time ago, like all these fun little games that they remember back in the day. So we are all about excitement and Halloween. We're excited, and we hope that people will come out and enjoy any of the fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
Seeing no other questions, last call. Well, we as a committee thank you all very much for organizing this presentation, and we look forward to seeing you soon, and thank you for our tumblers and your information today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Of course.
So much.
As our presenters switch at the table, next we will have Representative Nancy Tate, another committee member, giving an update on Fort Knox and that area. Welcome. We've been looking forward to your presentation. For the record, please push that little button until it's illuminated. Introduce yourself and please share with us about Fort Knox.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair and the members of the committee. I'm State Representative Nancy Tate, and I represent Meade and Hardin counties.
And my name is Lance O'Brien. I recognized some folks from the VMAP when I was here last month, but I am the President and CEO of the Knox Regional Development Alliance.
So I appreciate the opportunity to be here. And whenever we look at the committee, and it's made up of small business, IT, tourism, economic development, as well as VMAP. And so this organization, this industry actually spans across multiple committees. And so as Mr. O'Brien stated, he's already been to VMAP, and we can see more of his presentations as we continue to transpire into December and into January. So thank you.
And unfortunately, because of the government shutdown, and it's not considered an accepted activity, we won't have a representative here from Fort Knox. Originally, the Deputy Garrison Commander, Mr. Jim Bradford, was going to come and testify before the committee. But in light of that, they have given me some prepared comments that Mr. Bradford was going to speak on. So I'm going to kind of go through that. Just I'll drone on a little bit because I'm just kind of reading straight from the paper. But if you'll just bear with me, we'll get to that, and then I'll have a couple of other things towards the end, and then of course questions and answers. So thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today on behalf of Fort Knox and the United States Army, and I especially want to acknowledge Representative Nancy Tate for her continued support of Fort Knox and our soldiers. It is an honor to speak with you about the vital role Fort Knox plays, not only in our national defense, but also as a major driver of economic strength, community partnerships, and workforce development across the Commonwealth of Kentucky. We are proud to serve here as a committed partner to the region and a longstanding member of this community. For 107 years, Fort Knox is continuously involved to meet our Army's needs. What began as an artillery training center and later became the home of armor and cavalry transitioned 15 years ago into a senior-level multi-command installation. Today, Fort Knox serves as a central pillar in recruiting, training, and supporting America's warfighters. In many ways, Fort Knox's impact on our Army and on the Commonwealth is greater now than it has been at any other time in history. Economically, Fort Knox generates an estimated $5.6 billion in annual output, including roughly $1.3 billion in payroll. Within a 40-mile radius of the installation, more than 60,000 retirees, veterans, and their pensions and their families continue to live, work, volunteer, and invest in local communities, an enduring testament to the deep ties between Army and Kentucky. When we consider tourism, it's important to recognize that Fort Knox is not only a military post, but also a gateway for thousands of people to engage with the Commonwealth. At any given time, between 11,000 and 13,000 soldiers, not to mention their families, are stationed at Fort Knox, rotating every 2 to 4 years. Many are eager to explore Kentucky, its parks, bourbon heritage, historical sites, and family attractions. Military families contribute heavily to travel, hospitality, youth sports, and outdoor recreation, often becoming some of the state's most frequent travelers. Just as important, Kentucky's strong quality of life encourages many retiring soldiers to stay here permanently. They bring leadership, talent, and proven work ethic, qualities that strengthen Kentucky's businesses and communities. Growing the veteran talent pipeline is not only good for Fort Knox, but also good for Kentucky's entire economy. Fort Knox also attracts tens of thousands of visitors annually through major events and missions that drive tourism across the Commonwealth. Families who travel to visit soldiers and stationed at Fort Knox, Cadet Summer Training, which is the Army's largest recurring training event, brings about 10,000 ROTC cadets from across the nation each summer, and the National Raider Challenge, drawing 4,000 junior ROTC cadets and 300 teams to Kentucky. Additionally, the General George Patton Museum of Leadership brings more than 50,000 visitors annually. Located along US 31W and accessible without a visitor pass, the museum is a major attraction in Hardin County. Earlier this year, it was included among 19 Army field museums under review for potential closure nationwide. While that process continues, I want to emphasize this museum tells an important part of Kentucky's military heritage and strengthens public understanding of Army service, and it remains an essential educational and tourism asset for the state. Turning briefly to small business, Fort Knox directly supports Kentucky's economic base through contracting and private sector partnerships. In fiscal year 2025 alone, more than $484 million in contracts were awarded to small businesses supporting operations across the installation. Many of these businesses are based in Kentucky, and many more employ Kentucky residents. These companies provide critical services: construction, engineering, IT, training support, logistics, and so much more that helps enable the Army mission every day on Fort Knox. Finally, within information technology, Fort Knox plays a strategic role for the Army. The installation is home to one of the Army's largest data centers due to the presence of the U.S. Army Human Resources Command, which manages the personnel records of every soldier in the force. Our long-standing partnership with Elizabethtown Community and Technical College helped establish a pipeline of IT-ready talent to support that mission when Army HRC moved to Fort Knox in 2010. As the Army increasingly integrates advanced technologies, including artificial intelligence, automation, and cybersecurity, Fort Knox will continue to be a hub for innovation and a major consumer of skilled IT professionals. In closing, Fort Knox is more than a military installation. It is a national asset, a regional economic engine, and a partner to communities across Kentucky. Earlier this year, Fort Knox was awarded the Commander-in-Chief's Award as the best Army installation in the world. We are proud of that distinction, but we did not earn it alone. The support of this Commonwealth and many of the leaders and communities represented here today made it possible. We look forward to continuing our partnership as we build opportunity, strengthen national security, and advance shared prosperity for Kentucky and the United States. So that is the end of the prepared comments. The one thing that I will add when it comes to tourism, between the months of May, the end of May until about mid-November, Fort Knox will bring at least 35,000 new people to the Commonwealth. And that, of course, we've talked about is some of that is cadets. It is support forces to help run Cadet Summer Training. It is ROTC cadre from across the nation that will come here to help support as well. I was talking with one of the members of the U.S. Army Cadet Command, and he gave me a number that kind of blew my mind. And those Department of the Army professionals that come here during the summer to help support Cadet Summer Training, over 12,000 hotel nights alone. So that was just something that it's hard to grasp sometimes, but I can tell you that the greater Fort Knox community benefits greatly from the types of activities that Fort Knox has. And like I said, those 12,000 hotel nights turn into restaurant nights and going to Bardstown to visit the distilleries, going to Maker's Mark, wherever it may be. So actually the region will feel that impact as well. The other thing that I just wanted to touch on real quickly to kind of to tie the knot of why I'm here. So I was the former garrison commander for Fort Knox from 2021 to 2023. And I was lucky enough to get to come back to Fort Knox. So I was here from 2012 to 2015. I was with 3rd Brigade, 1st ID. We were deployed to Afghanistan. While we were there, we learned that we were getting activated. And so when I came back, I spent about a year at Human Resources Command before I got selected for Battalion Command. But I will tell you that my time here from 2012 to 2015 is exactly why I wanted to come back here in 2021. And luckily enough, I was able, as we were going through the list of the different organizations and commands that I was eligible for, Fort Knox, Kentucky Garrison was the number one choice. And I was very lucky to be able to do that. I'm originally from Northeast Missouri, but this is home now. I have a sophomore that's at the University of Louisville. She is a McConnell Scholar. She actually just got back from West Point last week for a conference that she got selected to go to. I got a freshman that's she's a freshman at John Hardin. And then my wife is a teacher at one of the elementary schools on Fort Knox. So she's considered an accepted Department of Defense employee right now. But being able to transition into the Knox Regional Development Alliance, because I carry a big chip on my shoulder for Fort Knox, because there's just the Army, I think, outside. Once you get outside the region, people just don't understand how important Fort Knox is, not only to the region and the Commonwealth, but also to the Army at the enterprise level. So I carry a big chip on my shoulder. When I got a chance to apply for this job, I jumped at it, and it kept me here. Our number one objective is to advocate for Fort Knox, to protect those missions and that economic impact that it has in the region. Number two is we're here to help small businesses get into defense business through our partnership with the Kentucky Apex Accelerator. And then number three, continue to build the partnerships between the community and the installation. When I was the garrison commander, one of the things I was known for saying is that the strength of Fort Knox is directly related to the strength of our neighbors, and I still do believe that. And then number four, of course, to continue to advocate for quality of life issues for soldiers and families. And they're going to miss a paycheck here pretty soon, but we have a great and very supportive local community that I know will step in and help in any way that they can. So, ma'am, that kind of finishes my comments. Do you have anything else?
Great. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And, of course, we welcome any comments and questions you might have.
Well, of course, just the term Fort Knox is iconic globally, and to know that you all are serving in both of your capacities that iconic institution right here in our Commonwealth. We do have several questions. I just want to thank you for your service and your commitment to Kentucky and the soldiers that you still serve.
Thank you.
First in the queue is Representative Wesley.
Thank you, Lady Chair. I just got a brief comment. Colonel, I want to thank you for your service, sir. And not only that, Representative Tate, thank you for not only advocating for Fort Knox, but also Fort Campbell, and for the work that you do. My dad was a drill instructor at Fort Knox, by the way, and that's why I chose the Marine Corps, but nothing personal. But anyways, I just want to thank you for everything you're doing and appreciate that time. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for those comments. Co-Chair Wheeler.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I can remember, it's probably been 20 years ago, but you all used to have a great World War II reenactment down there, I think, that I served. And I think the year I went there, it was kind of exciting. I think there was exciting in a bad way. I think there was a blank that misfired and somebody got burned really bad and everything. And I don't know that, but, you know, they had P-51s, some Sherman tanks, I think some German Hetzers. I mean, it was a pretty wide-scale, neat presentation. Do they still do that down there?
They do not. The things that are done in the area is we have several what I call graybeards, retirees that are also kind of their own they're military historians. So there are several restored vehicles. In fact, when I was a garrison commander, in every parade that I was in actually a World War II command car and got to go through the parades like that. But there are several folks that will have that have refurbished World War II era, Vietnam era things that they'll kind of have a powwow, I guess if you want to call that, at the Knox at the Patton Museum during Veterans Day or some other things that are going on for special events.
Well, I hate to hear it's not going on anymore. It was a really neat show, but thank you very much.
Thank you.
Representative Watkins.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a really quick comment. Colonel, thank you for your service. Fort Knox is near and dear to me, and Representative, thanks for doing this as well. I'm there often, actually. I just had a cousin who made a Command Sergeant Major and is there. So I was really excited to hear about the economic influence of Fort Knox. I've learned a great deal since being there. Many times over the last year, and I don't think that story is widely known. So this handout is fantastic to know about that. And as my family members who are in Hopkinsville, who have traversed through Fort Campbell, I also echo the thanks and sentiments there for elevating not only how much our bases mean to the Commonwealth, but that impact is really significant. And I thank you both for elevating that today. Thanks, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And I will say, I should have said this at the beginning. There was a leave behind. The big piece of paper is what we call the Fort Knox placemat that's provided by Fort Knox that gives you that 10,000-foot view of Fort Knox. And then we also had the brochure for the Patton Museum. So Representative Watkins, thanks for reminding me to do that.
Thank you so much for those handouts. Senator Thomas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll ask the $64,000 question in the room.
Tax-free?
How has the 23-day government shutdown impacted the community of Fort Knox? And I know our president had talked about early on doing a carve-out for individuals in the military. I just heard you say that there's going to be a paycheck missing soon. So my question is, are the military personnel in Fort Knox going to be paid, or have they been paid? And what about the non-military personnel that work at Fort Knox? I know there's several hundreds of those in the Radcliffe community. So how has this shutdown impacted our soldiers, our men and women who serve our country, and those others who serve the community in Fort Knox who are non-military?
So I can comment. I do know that there was the carve-out from the R&D budget. I have not had a discussion with any soldiers, so I can neither confirm or deny. But I will tell you that, again, my wife is a Department of Defense civilian employee, has not received a paycheck. She got her beginning of the month paycheck that covered through the end of September, but as yet has not received that. The economic impact, we'll talk about that in just a second, but the impact on soldiers and those civilians, there's a lot of anxiety. I was talking with the garrison commander this morning at a board meeting, and there is anxiety, but between Army Emergency Relief, a lot of our financial institutions in the area providing no interest or low interest loans to help people get through. There's a lot of support in the community to make sure that our soldiers and our Department of the Army civilians are taken care of. There is also an Army Red Cross location on Fort Knox that is there to help provide whether it's clothing, food, or just other general necessities. That is there. But as far as the impacts, I don't think the impact will be felt. It's being felt a little bit, but I think as this time rolls on, it will be felt greater. I think there's going to be a decrease in what we'll call non-discretionary spending in the local economy. I think that's just right around the corner as folks are kind of watching the news to try to find out or to try to understand how long this could act. But I appreciate your question, sir.
Well, 23 days is a long time.
Yes.
Well, we won't be debating this or any issue. We will go back to Co-Chair Wheeler for a comment.
I'll pass, Madam Chair.
How many? 13? 13? I forgot what it's called.
I would just say that there was a vote 13 minutes ago to pay our troops and essential government employees, but unfortunately it failed in the Senate 54-45.
And that is not a controversial comment. That's just a fact of what happened earlier today. So we will allow that. Any other comments or questions? Yes, Representative Tate.
Yes, I just asked Mr. Bryan to talk about the most recent battalion would that be with the reference of what just the most recent activity that was added to Fort Knox?
Well, it's
air-to-ground communication.
The range complex. So the digital air-ground integration range, it is the only range of its type east of the Mississippi. It's one of only 2 in the United States. Luckily enough, range control and range operations is considered an accepted activity, so that range is still open and being utilized. But what that range allows is for units to fight or to train as they would fight. It integrates either mounted movement, whether it's a tank or a Bradley fighting vehicle or a Stryker fighting vehicle. It also has dismounted capabilities for infantrymen and whatnot that are dismounted. There's a trench line, there's a city inside of it, but it is one of the most high-tech. It is probably the most high-tech range in the United States right now because of it's relatively new. It is fully operation capable and supports, like I said, ground maneuver. It supports artillery, mortars. It supports rotary wing aviation, and it supports fixed wing aviation. So our ground forces can work with aviation forces to ensure that they understand communications and can make sure they put lead on target. But it is the newest range. It became fully operation capable I would say probably spring of this year, and it's really a sight to see. You can stand on one side. You can stand at the beginning of the range, which is on Borders 313, Joe Prather Highway, and look all the way across to the west and see the I think it's the Mill Creek LG&E station at Mill Creek. And you can that's how big the range is. That also does include, of course, impact area for artillery and things like that. But it's quite an amazing thing to see.
I thought that would be very important, especially for the IT section of our committee, to understand how complex this digital range is.
We do have one more question. Representative Grossberg.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's actually more of a comment. I haven't been to the Patton Museum since it was just the U.S. Armor Museum, and it was outstanding then, and I've only heard how much more outstanding it's gotten, and I would encourage anyone and everyone to pay a visit at some point. I mean, it is an absolute treasure. You do not need to be a war buff or a World War II history buff to enjoy Patton's history. He's one of the most complicated figures in American history, and it was family friendly then, and I assume it hasn't changed, so I just encourage everyone to take a visit.
And anyone that takes you up on that visit invitation, buy gas, buy food, spend some money in the Fort Knox area. I know everyone would appreciate that. Representative Tate, do you have any closing comments?
No, I thank you very much. And I do agree. I just recently went to the Patton Museum with my 6-year-old grandson, and I thought that I was never going to get him out of there. He was absolutely enthralled with every part of it, from the tanks to there was a lady that was actually there that was demonstrating how they cooked and how they sewed and all the different things back in that era. That's exactly right. And so it was a great opportunity. So thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. O'Brien, for being here.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for joining us today. I certainly appreciate both members bringing these interesting topics to us for our October meeting. We are scheduled to meet again on November the 20th, and that will be at 1 p.m. Does anyone have final comments? If not, we are adjourned. Thank you all.